Hello, friends, and welcome into today's Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, joined by my box of beer from Tavor. We'll tell you all about Tavor throughout today's show, but if you want your own custom box of craft beer from breweries all throughout the country, go to Tavor.com and use promo code CHATSPORTS for $10 off your first purchase. A little bit different show today, no rumors. Instead, we'll start things off with some training camp takeaways from the Dallas Cowboys. We'll start on defense. Byron Jones has been thriving at cornerback. He has looked fantastic so far. He is in prime now to have a breakout year under new defensive backs coach and almost the co-defensive coordinator Kris Richard at this point, based on the way the Cowboys defense is running. Byron Jones has looked fantastic so far. He has been one of the biggest winners so far from training camp. He looks like a natural at cornerback. I've been very pleased with how well Byron Jones has played. Maybe he can be a true number one cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. Either way, I think that Byron Jones is primed for a breakout year. And overall, this young secondary has looked very, very good in year one under Kris Richard. That was a positive. A negative was Dak Prescott, so he's been a little bit inconsistent. The numbers, pure completion percentage-wise, are pretty good. It's winning 72% of his passes in the 8 padded practices so far. But the big issue is the chemistry is clearly not there. Now, on one hand, that's really not a huge surprise. Allen Hurns is a brand new receiver. Michael Gallup is a brand new receiver. Deontay Thompson, Tavon Austin, Noah Brown. These are, less so Noah Brown, but those are all mostly new receivers. A brand new tight end core with 9 career combined catches there. So it's going to take time for Dak to get the chemistry down. And the deep ball has also been a bit of an issue for Prescott, which is what we knew coming out of college. So up and down overall for Dak Prescott. Too many interceptions. He is still working through the kinks of the new receiving core. That's going to take time. I'm not panicking yet, but Dak has not been super sharp, 100% accurate Dak Prescott so far. I do still think he is the Cowboys franchise quarterback. I'm not going to let the first week and a half of training camp change my mind on that, but we'll see how he continues to develop in this season because he needs to be better than what he was last year. Sticking on offense here, Rico Gathers has been a bit of a mixed bag. When he gets the chance to catch the ball, especially in the red zone, he tends to do pretty well, which is what we've known about Rico. We saw it in camp last year. We saw it in the preseason last year. The issue for Rico is that, he's a little bit slower than some of these other tight ends, but again, when the ball gets near him, those basketball skills, like Jason Garrett mentioned earlier, are very reliable and very effective. The issue is he's still learning how to actually just play football, and he is stuck behind Blake Jarwin, Jeff Swaim, and you know that Dalton Schultz is going to make that roster. So Rico's future is very much tied to whether or not the Cowboys will carry 3 tight ends or 4 tight ends. If it's just 3, Rico's not going to make this roster. If it's 4, well, then Rico ends up being safe. So let me know if you think Rico should make the 53-man roster. Give me a 1 for a yes and a 2 for a no. I like the idea of having Rico as a big-bodied red zone option. I think that's worth a roster spot, but Rico remains a work in progress in many of the facets of the game. The Cowboys might view that as a major negative for him. All right, folks, subscribe to our new Cowboys Report YouTube channel. Go to chatsports.com/CowboysTV. It'll take you right into the subscriber page. 2,000 subscribers is the next mark. We are almost there, just a couple hundred away. We'll get that very soon. So subscribe now at chatsports.com/CowboysTV. Another fan favorite name is Michael Gallup, and all in all, he kind of looks like a rookie. The flashes have definitely been there. Gallup has made some really, really great plays, has also made some poor ones. And I think at times we expect too much of a first-year wide receiver to come in and instantly be the Cowboys' number 1 wideout. I thought Gallup was a great draft pick. I like what he brings to the team, and the promise is still there. But let's not forget, this is a rookie receiver from Colorado State. He's going to need more time, especially if and when he gets matched up against those elite corners that the Cowboys will face throughout the season. So I like what Gallup has shown, but he does still need more time development before he's actually even close to a number 1 wideout. Next up is Tavon Austin. Now, his role has been heavily debated by Cowboys fans and pundits and all that kind of stuff. Oh, is he a halfback? Oh, is he a receiver? In the end, it doesn't matter. He is an athlete. He's played receiver almost exclusively during camp. Yes, he was called a web back by Stephen Jones, who all said he was going to get 12 to 24 touches a game, which is just not going to happen. I think in terms of play style, it's going to be a Lance Dunbar, Lucky Whitehead type role for Tavon Austin. Plenty of jet sweeps, plenty of screens, quick passes to get the ball in his hands and in space. Lance Dunbar was a halfback for the Cowboys, but he barely ran the football. When Tavon Austin is on the field, it's probably going to be in a passing down scenario, but you will see plenty of those jet sweeps and reverses that we saw the Cowboys run last year with Switzer and Cole and in the past Lucky Whitehead. So I'm curious to see how the Cowboys actually use Tavon Austin during games. His speed is an asset. Hopefully Scott Henning can get the most out of Austin. Back to defense now. I mentioned this on last week's show. Antwaun Woods has made some very nice plays for the Cowboys up front, and he's competing for a roster spot at the one technique spot, but I think in reality, he's already passed Brian Price, and to an extent, Jihad Ward as well. Woods has gotten snaps ahead of Price and Ward, with Collins, of course, hurt, and David Irving suspended for the first 4 games of the season. If the season ended right now, I think, or not, if roster cuts ended right now, if they had to make the decisions there, I think that you would see Antwaun Woods make the roster. Now, when I made my negative comments about the Cowboys' defensive tackles last week, I was not talking about the entire defensive line. I have no concerns about the defensive end spot. It's DT that has me worried. I do still want some more depth and some more talent up front. I still think they're a little bit thin, but hopefully Antwaun Woods can play, even if it's only 10 to 15 snaps a game, a key role as a potential run stuffer up front. Anthony Brown is up next. He did not look good early in camp. He got beat a little bit too often. He had too many plays, but he's bounced back since. He's had several interceptions, still a little bit up and down overall. And again, all these guys that I mentioned, they are not perfect. Some make mistakes. If I talk negative, they're making plenty of good plays as well. So Brown struggled early during camp, but has really bounced back since then. Looked pretty good in the blue and white scrimmage, has made some good plays at cornerback, and he continues to work ahead of Jourdan Lewis. And it's Lewis, actually, who remains stuck behind Anthony Brown, and he is one of really the training camp losers so far because he cannot surpass Anthony Brown. Now, I don't really agree with that. If I were the Cowboys, I would have Jourdan Lewis as my nickel back, and I don't mean that as an insult to Anthony Brown, who as of right now is the number 3, but I think that Jourdan Lewis is just a better corner. Yeah, he doesn't have the height and the arm length that Chris Richard tends to like. Anthony Brown doesn't really either, even though he does fit the mold a little bit better. So with Chido Awuzie battling a little minor knee injury, it's actually Anthony Brown who's been the number 2 cornerback, Lewis the number 3. So Brown is still ahead of Jourdan Lewis. So folks, let me know, who would you rather play at cornerback? Give me an L for Jourdan Lewis and a B for Anthony Brown. I still want it to be Jourdan Lewis. I know he's undersized, but I think he brings you more in terms of potential playmaking at the cornerback spot and pass breakups as well. I would vote for Jourdan Lewis to be my number 3 cornerback. I think he would be a perfect nickel in today's NFL. The Cowboys really like Anthony Brown, though, so as of right now, Anthony Brown is your number 3 cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. My box of beer from Tavor, including this Bison Beatbox IPA and this Vienna Lager from Fair Stay Co-op and the rest of the beers that you see here. And Tavor will hook you up as well. Go to Tavor.com and use promo code CHATSPORTS for $10 off your first purchase. They're going to start delivering to Texas this month, so sign up now to be the first to know when the beers come to Texas. All right, so Brown and Lewis and Dak and all those guys are guys that we know. Those are familiar names. We'll take a look now at 2 potentially lesser name players. How about Lance Lenoir next up? He is making the most of his reps during training camp. Remember, Terrence Williams missed time this offseason because of his broken foot. Allen Hurns has battled his own little minor injuries. So too have Deontay Thompson and Noah Brown. That has allowed Lance Lenoir to get first and second team reps, and he brings you special teams value as well. Lance Lenoir, under the radar, I think right now could surpass Noah Brown and could be that 7th or even 6th receiver that the Cowboys elect to take this year, depending on how I guess you classify Tavon Austin. So Lance Lenoir, I think, has a real chance to make the roster. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, as we mentioned, the big key for all these guys, how do they fare during the preseason? We've had pet cats before at receiver that have played well in camp and then not shown up during the actual preseason games. One more name here, Charvarius Ward. First off, elite name, and a cornerback who has really kind of turned the corner the last couple of days or so. had a bit of a rough start, and then it all kind of slowed down a little bit for him and started to click as well. Ward could legitimately make this roster as the Cowboys' number 5 cornerback. He's picked up his play during camp so far, and I think he's looked very, very solid as well. He's made some nice plays, some nice interceptions, some pass breakups. He's going to be with guys like Marquez White and Duke Thomas, Donovan Olumba as well there. I'll put Cam Kelly on the list, even though he's more of a safety right now, but we have the space, so I'll throw in Cam Kelly as an honorable mention. But I think that Charvarius Ward, folks, might be the next undrafted free agent to make the Cowboys roster and even contribute as well.